Hi, this is Jake, and we're going to be going over the June 2016 Apocabox. For those of you that don't know, this Apocabox is actually a subscription box service that gets delivered to your house once every 2 months. It's curated by survival teacher Creek Stewart, who's based out of Indiana, and it comes literally packed with survival tools, survival skills that you can learn, even things you can just use around the house to kind of bolster that stockpile of survival items or your first aid kit. It has a lot of different facets that really make learning about survival techniques a lot of fun and really interesting. And really, the survival box is for all kinds of people, whether you're just kind of getting into the survival aspect or prepping, or maybe you're just interested in doing more things outdoor and learning some bushcrafts. It's really great for people of all different ages, from kids can do this with their parents, or adults can do this by themselves. It's a lot of fun and it's a lot of versatility. So we're going to be going over a lot of the things that came in this month's Apocabox. First things first though, I'd like to point out that there's always a supply sheet that comes with the Apocabox, and it's usually a black and white printed piece of paper that has a list of everything that's on it. This one's actually like a laminated sort of cardboard. It looks a lot nicer, it's colorful, and I kind of think it's a nice upgrade. It really makes the subscription box seem nicer, like you're really getting a gift every month. The first item in this month's Apocabox is the mini bow set. It's the fourth in the Aboriginal knife series kit that has been coming with every Apocabox. And this one kind of looks like somewhere between a chisel and a rasp. It's actually got a pretty sharp blade here. And I can see you kind of using this as an all-around knife. But its specialty is used in making arrows, bones, or chisels of that kind of thing. So it's kind of a weapons knife in that way. You can also take the blade out and insert it here in this little divot inside of the handle and use it for making things that way as well. Now this is definitely a primitive type of tool. You can probably get the same effect out of something in your Leatherman, your multi-tool, or just your regular knife. But the kind of point of this and the Apocabox is that it's teaching you primitive ways of doing these, the kind of ways our ancestors might have done it and the way they would have made their tools. So the next item in this month's Apocabox is the folding bush saw. It is a folding saw, just like that, and it makes processing wood a lot faster, especially when you're in the field. It has a little bit of a locking mechanism here, so that way it doesn't go anywhere while you're sawing, and Creek's even got his own little logo placed in here on the handle. What I gotta say is I've had a chainsaw saw in my camping gear, my bug out kits for as long as I can remember. I've had them growing up, and they never seem to process wood fast enough. You also have to have them at a very particular angle. I haven't seen a model like this one until I saw it in a survival video that Creek put together, so I'm really glad he included it in the Apocabox, and I gotta say, this thing is going straight into my bug out bag. So the Apocabox likes to include a food item every once in a while. Usually it's some sort of granola bar or energy bar in that sense, and every once in a while, it's bugs. This month it is cheddar cheese larvettes. They're little mealworms that have been covered in like nacho cheese, and I guess they're included to kind of teach you that in the field someday you might have to eat a bug if you're in a bug out situation. However, I'm not in a bug out situation, so I don't know if I'll be eating these anytime soon. Next up, we have the Zombie Tinder Survival Candle. Now, I really like the concept of a survival candle, because there's so much you can do with a steady flame like this. You could actually probably cook on it, you can use it for lighting, you can use it as a concentrated source of fire that's more reliable than trying to get something started, like, you know, if you're making something with an actual campfire. So I definitely like the candle concept. However, I've been very skeptical of stuff from Zombie Survival Tinder in the past. We've gotten a couple of items in the Apocabox, and they've never been as great as they've been advertised. I am excited to see how this one works out though, because I've never tried their actual candle. So I think it might be a little better. The thing that's really drawing me to this though, is that the wick is actually kind of a little piece of cotton fluff, which you can kind of ball up, put on top of the wick, and when you go to spark it with, like, say, a ferro rod, the candle will light. So you actually don't need the lighter to get this thing going. I really like that idea a lot. Excited to see how this thing works out. I think this is actually going to go in my home bug-in kit. And actually, the fact that it's called Zombie Tinder actually brings me to another point is, when I look for survival items or things that I might want to use in my bug-out kit, my bug-in kit, I try to stay away from stuff that says zombie in it. Now, I get that that draws, a lot of people into the survival concept and collecting the gear and really getting out into the field. But it's something to be skeptical of because it seems like it's a little bit of a selling point to pull in the Walking Dead fans and things like that. Sure, it's great for bringing people in, but I don't know if it's always the kind of name and branding you can trust. Next up in the box is the Epic Wipe. Now, Creek has included things like moist towelettes before in the Apocabox, and they've been awesome, and they really are great in the field. I can't tell you how many times I've actually used them camping. I have them in my everyday carry in case I'm at the office and it gets a little too hot. You want to clean up before a meeting. Those sort of moist towelettes that are for your body and your face are awesome. This one, however, is even bigger. It reads to be about 31.5 inches by 19.7 inches. So it sounds like maybe 2.5 feet by 1.5 feet, somewhere around there. So this is going to be a giant wet wipe. You're going to be able to do your entire body with this. This is going to be perfect if you've been out camping, if you've been in the field for a couple of days and you're starting to get a little gamey. This thing's going to clean you right off. It was actually designed for soldiers who were serving our country. And you know, I'm really kind of excited about this giant wet nap. I think it's going to go in my car kit because I feel like if I was living out of my car for a couple of days, I'd want to get a nice clean wipe down. So that's what this is going to be for. Now in the Apocabox, more and more Creek has been including kits that you can do at home. These are less of like a sort of item like a knife or a blade that you can use, and something you're supposed to kind of learn on your own, which is great for people who subscribe to the Apocabox. I think it's exactly the kind of thing that Creek can supply us that you wouldn't get from other sort of survival boxes. You're actually getting some of his knowledge, and remember, in the field, knowledge weighs nothing. So, we have here the Natural Cordage Kit. And essentially, what the cordage kit is, it's pieces of yucca with a couple beads, and it actually teaches you how to make cordage out of yucca. And why I really like this kit is I live in Southern California, so a lot of the things that come in the Apocabox for these kits aren't readily available to me. We have different trees, we have different foliage. We don't have as much space here where I live in Los Angeles, so I can't really do a lot of the kits that come in the Apocabox. This one I can, and there is so much yucca. I can't tell you how many times I've gone camping for a couple of days and the only plants around me are cactuses and yucca. Really excited about this kit. Next up, we have the Venus Bird Trap Kit. It's this sort of copper kit that opens up like a Venus flytrap. You put your little piece of bait in there in the middle, you set the trap, and it captures birds. Now, these are legal to use for game and hunting. However, you can still use this for educational purposes, and you can use this as sort of a demonstration. Creek goes to great lengths to specify that in the Apocabox. It's a really handsome bird trapping kit. It's really sturdy, it's really solid. When I got it in the box, I was kind of impressed to be included in a survival box or a subscription box like this. It's a very cool item. Last kit in the box this month is Build Your Own ATLATL. An ATLATL is sort of like a throwing spear, bow and arrow sort of situation. Now I actually haven't put this together because again, I don't have a lot of space to practice using an ATLATL, but if you look at the packaging, it's got Creek throwing the spear, and it actually shows you in the video that comes included, or the video that has the link in the Apocabox, that it sort of works on a propulsion system where you're actually throwing the spear and then there's a device in the back that actually projects it even further. I gotta be honest, out of all the hunting supplies that I've seen in the Apocabox, this one looks like the most fun to do. It actually looks kind of like a game or something you would do with your friends as opposed to just setting a trap and walking away. It looks super awesome. Last up for the Apocabox, there's usually some kind of little patch or a little sticker or something, and this month is a little blackout sticker, kind of giving you a preview of the August Apocabox, which is called the Blackout Edition. Not a lot of clues out there as to what it's going to be, but it looks like it's going to sort of center on urban survival and things to do if there's a power grid collapse. That sounds like it's going to be right up my alley. Like I said, I do live in the city, so I think I'm going to get a lot of uses out of those that box's items. All right, so to wrap things up, I'll go ahead and tell you my favorite item and my least favorite item out of the box. My least favorite is probably going to be the larvettes, just because, sure, someday I might have to eat bugs in the field. It's good to know what kind of bugs are out there that you might have to eat to survive off of, but that's pretty slim to none chances, and I'm not going to dig into a box of worms if I don't have to. My favorite item in this month's Apocabox is the folding bush saw. I can't tell you how long I put off buying one of these. I'm glad that it finally just showed up in the Apocabox. I have researched over and over Creek's bug out bag and the items that he uses in it, and this is something that I've always seen in every incarnation of his bug out bag. So you know it's good if the guy's using it himself. Really handsome blade, think it's super cool, and actually, if you do get the Apocabox and you wear out your blade, there's more in the Apocabox shop. So that pretty much wrapped things up. Go ahead and tell you that you can find us on Reddit. We're the Fat Guys in the Woods Reddit page. Please go there, comment on the boxes, tell us what you like, tell us what you didn't like. There's also a Facebook group called the Apocabox Bunker. A lot of people sharing their stories and information there. And of course, you can find the guy who creates the box, Creek Stewart, on all the major social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc., etc., etc. We'll see you in August.